This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. U.S. buyers of critical minerals have figured out how to get around China's crackdown on supplies. After the U.S. restricted Chinese access to semiconductors last year, China retaliated by banning exports of antimony, a metal that's used in batteries and chips, as well as gallium and germanium, which are used in telecommunications, chips, and military technology. But imports of those minerals have surged in the U.S., and they're on pace to equal or exceed the levels before the ban. That's because shipments are being rerouted via third countries, specifically Thailand and Mexico. Reuters reports that the workaround involves a buying agent in China who gets minerals from producers. Then a shipping company routes them, relabeled as iron, zinc, or art supplies, via another Asian country. China is aware of the practice, and in May, it implemented penalties, fines, bans, and even jail time to try and stop it. Tesla seems to be getting hit by one wave of bad news after another. Sales are falling, profits are dropping, Elon and President Trump are throwing hands on social media, and yet, despite all of that, Tesla is still worth more than every other car company put together. We've got a comparison here of the top 22 publicly traded automakers in the world based on their market capitalization as of the close of the market yesterday. And there's some real shockers in there. Look at BYD, which is third on the list. And notice how Li Auto is worth nearly as much as Stellantis. And it's also kind of shocking to see that Rivian is worth more than Renault. But Tesla is still worth more than all of them put together. The head of China's Passenger Car Association loves the part of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill that gets rid of EV subsidies. He says it's a big win for the Chinese auto industry because now the U.S. will mainly concentrate on producing obsolete internal combustion technology, while China will surge ahead with new energy vehicles, which includes BEVs, PHEVs, and EREVs. So far this year, China's global exports of these types of vehicles are up 48% and will probably top 2 million units before the year is over. And yet, that One Big Beautiful Bill didn't gut everything to do with EVs. The Ford Motor Company says the battery plant it's building in Michigan using CATL technology to make LFP batteries will still qualify for U.S. government subsidies. Ford says those batteries are critical for it to come out with profitable electric vehicles that cost under $30,000. Jim Farley says they're working on the EV equivalent of a modern-day Model T that will be out in 2027. We don't have all the details yet, but it looks like Trump's bill is keeping at least some of the battery production tax credits in place. You no longer need a driver's license to get a car. At least not in Phoenix, Arizona, you don't. Waymo is now allowing teens from 14 to 17 years old to order rides for themselves. A parent or guardian needs to have an account first, but then they can add a kid to it. There's even specially trained remote operators to assist, and they can contact account owners if necessary. Trip status can also be shared in real time, and account owners receive all bills. And this is kind of big news. Most states require you to be 21 years old to rent a car, and some rental companies have special policies for anyone under 25. In somewhat related news, Chinese autonomous provider Baidu has partnered with a rental service company to offer its robotaxis to users. So, instead of ordering a ride to go from point A to point B, you can now have a Baidu robotaxi all to yourself for as little as 4 hours or as much as 7 days. You need to be 18 or older, but no word on if you need a driver's license or what the service will cost. Speaking of autonomous cars and the progress they're making, a race car from the India Autonomous Challenge just smashed the track record at the Autodromo of Modena in Italy. The previous record was held by a Lamborghini Huracan STO with a human driver, but the autonomous Indy car beat that record by a second. And if you know road racing, that's a big margin. The autonomous race car uses an Indy Lights chassis with a 2-liter Honda engine with 450 horsepower. It's equipped with 4 Luminar LiDARs, 2 radars from Continental, 6 cameras, and uses processors from Intel and NVIDIA. All told, it has 14 terabytes of onboard storage. Students and researchers from the University of Modena and Reggio Emilia are the ones who set the record.
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Rivian fans will be happy to know that the EV maker is bringing its quad motor setup to its second-gen R1 models. The setup was previously offered on the first-gen R1 TNS, but only the dual and tri-motor versions had been offered on the second-gen up to this point. The quad motor offers 1,025 horsepower and nearly 1,200 pound-feet of torque, which rockets both the R1 models from 0 to 60 in about 2.5 seconds, and they'll cover the quarter mile in 10.5 seconds. EPA range is estimated at 374 miles, while a NACS charging port is standard. The quad motor R1T starts at about $120,000, and the R1S version is about $126,000. In other Rivian news, Also Inc., the micro-mobility company that it spun off in May, just raised another $200 million in funding, which takes its total valuation to over $1 billion. Also is scheduled to launch its first product early next year, which is expected to be some kind of e-bike. Used car prices in the U.S. are on the rise, and they're expected to continue to go up. The Manheim Used Vehicle Index, which tracks prices of used vehicles sold at wholesale auctions, increased 1.6% last month from May on a seasonally adjusted basis, and it's up 6.3% compared to last year, which is the largest annual increase since August of 2022. A couple of factors are contributing to the increase in price. Trump's tariffs prompted buyers to snap up new vehicles before they set in, which impacted supplies and forced some buyers to the used market and led to a price increase. Also, supplies of used vehicles were already tight because of a shortage of new vehicles caused by the pandemic and chip shortage a few years back. So, there aren't as many vehicles coming off lease into the used market, which is also boosting prices. Despite a big drop in North America, the Volkswagen Group increased sales in the second quarter. The group sold 2.7 million vehicles worldwide, which was up just over 1% compared to a year ago. North America was the only market to see a decline, which was down 16%. Europe saw a slight increase, less than 1%, and China was up almost 3%. The VW Group's fully electric sales were also strong in the second quarter. It sold over 248,000 BEVs globally, up 37%. That was mainly in Europe, where VW's BEV sales surged 72%. But its BEV sales were down 5% in the US and 32% in China. Bentley revealed an all-new EV concept called the EXP15. While it takes inspiration from Grand Tourers of the 1930s, the model's design hints at upcoming electric cars that we'll see from Bentley. It says 3 key traits: monolithic presence, muscular form, and carved precision make up the core of what its future vehicles will look like. And that will include a slight modification to the wings on Bentley's logo. The EXP15 is over 5 meters, or about 16.5 feet long, but yet It only has 3 seats. The passenger side features coach doors and a section of the roof that opens to provide a massive entranceway. The seat will even swivel to make getting in and out easier, and it can also be moved all the way forward next to the driver or all the way back, creating room for luggage or a pet. Thanks to a hatchback design that's paired with a tailgate, there's even the option for a little lounge area in the back. We'll have to see if any of this actually makes its way to Bentley's first production EV, which is gonna be revealed sometime next year. But that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Intrepid Control Systems. Over-the-air engineering boost your game. And by